Ryan Forsyth is fucking amazing.
He's done an incredible job. He recorded our EP for us as well, Rejected Atrocity.
Yeah.
Which he did, phenomenal job, engineering and mixing for us. And,
yeah, he always does so great. I love Ryan's work. It's so good to have somebody like that in town, that we can just
get
stellar.
He's professional, he's quick, he's like super easy to work with.
Yeah, great dude.
Absolute sweetheart, yeah. I love him. I call him Dad most times. But he made the whole process easy. Like, you go into a studio, it's clean, it's easy room to work in, and he did a killer job. We got Jake Satcher mastered for us, and that album turned out great. Response on it's been awesome.
Right. Yeah, no, it's totally been great. How have you been? Did you guys have your tour upcoming for that, or did you do much touring yet?
No, we haven't done much touring or played Winnipeg much for that matter since we released it. A lot of it's just been like online campaigning, getting everything out there, mailing stuff out, and getting people into the album. So now that it's been out for a little while, we're heading out west from April 6th through to the 10th.
That's coming up, April 6th.
So next month we'll be out on the road, which would be cool. So we're doing Winnipeg, Regina, Edmonton, and Calgary.
Excellent.
There's only a few dates out. Band members are expecting kids right now, so thankfully not me, but So I mean, they've got to be home for due dates and stuff. So we don't want to risk being on lives, 2.5, 3 week tour. And all of a sudden, I'm in labor. Oh shit, I'm in Edmonton. Who knows,
no, that's the worst. Really, any kind of shenanigans on tour is the worst. The bad kind of shenanigans.
When stuff back at home is like, oh wait, damn me, I forgot to turn off my oven, and now my house is gone.
Oh no, that's a whole different kind of thing. Yeah, I don't even know if I'd call that shenanigans all the way, but yeah.
Just commitments you have at home and stuff. Road's a funny place for goofy things like that to happen, right? With Solanum, the other band I play bass in. When we were on tour, Andrews was playing 3 rack toms and a floor tom, and when we were leaving our show in Barrie, we forgot that floor tom at the bar that we played in Barrie, and we're already.
Where's Barrie again? Ontario.
Barrie's in Ontario. It's just before really getting into Toronto.
Right.
Beautiful city, but. The band that we played with, we were playing with on our way back. So they took the tom for us. And played the rest of the tour without it.
Oh, okay.
So Andrew's just having to rebuild fills while we're gonna drive in. And got back there and like, here's your tom. We're like, sweet. Super glad we didn't have to drive 5 hours back to go get it.
Yeah, totally worth it. And like, it's funny how like the road life is like thrilling, like being like stuffed uncomfortably in like a shitty vehicle with all this gear, and like you got your homeboys there, so that's fun.
It's just really goofy
thing, each other alive. Like,
people spend $2,500 to go on a vacation somewhere hot, and they stay at the same place for a week. Where it's like, I'll take like maybe $200 with me.
Yeah,
I'm gone for 2 weeks. That covers my food and booze for the most part, and I got to see most of the country with my band. Got to hang out, got to play, a different city to new people every night, and it's killer. Why would I want any other experience?
No, it's. I was listening to the Metal Sucks podcast today, just trying to find some new ones, and they had Chris Adler on there, and fuck, you said something about that. Yeah, it's the worst job that it's the best job that I would rather complain about. I can't remember exactly what I said. He's like, it's the job that I would rather complain about over any other job in the world,
Oh, yeah. Like, you can work, 9 to 5 in a cubicle or in a warehouse, whatever you're doing.
Exactly.
But, like, once you kind of hit that certain point, you're like, this is, not a second job, but it's your other side of your livelihood, right? Like, these guys are just, people are musicians, and that's what they do. That's their life. That's what they've spent training and practicing for, is so they can play music to people.
It's fucking. I love it. It's such a like if trade had that agreement.
Yeah.
I don't want to get like too crazy with all the politics shit now, but like if we had like, I always just fantasize about this world that doesn't exist, where we could like offer each other services instead of like raw money and stuff,
here's money, I'll do this for money. Well, I have no money, well then I'm not doing it for you.
Exactly. But if every person like became an individual and crafted their craft that
Yeah.
was their individual thing that only they had, that was completely unique to them, that nobody else could do that like them because it's their thing. No matter what the fuck it is, everybody's got one thing at least that you can do that.
Yeah.
People do that with lots. Look how much shit fucking Elon Musk does. But you know, people have more than one of those things. But everybody's got at least one. You know. So.
Yeah, everybody's got a talent, something that they're unique at that can help somebody else out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's kind of how musicians work. Got
Exactly.
a drummer who can drum really well.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's start a band.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we can't because you work 9 days a week. That makes no sense. But
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Right.
You gotta find the right musicians to work with. You know, it's almost like the same thing. And
Yeah, we're lucky to be some of the few people in the world that can kind of do that thing now, you know, like just trade what you're good at for it.
mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of musicians have a job on the side. A lot of musicians love their job on the side. A lot of musicians make their job on the side also music.
Yeah.
You do that, you know,
Yeah.
working at a music store and in the band and stuff.
Yeah.
This one. Yeah, I think that might be a last year's, but... Not
Couldn't tell
sure,
you.
but... yeah, right. It's always a good day when you get those in the mail.
Oh yeah, it's like the old Sears catalog, except you're not jacking off to it as much. So we had Trevor Burney help us out over recently with Manitoba Metal Fest.
Yeah, which you guys killed, and
yeah,
everybody fucking killed, and we can just get into that in a bit because that was awesome.
I mean that was cool. Like 10 years ago, I was telling you earlier, you know, like I saw Damascus, and you know, it was 18, 19. Right at the front for the show because you know it's my second, third local show ever, or whatever. Yeah. So I'm headbanging, I'm going hard, and I have my hand on the monitor, and Trevor jumps up and crushed my hand on the monitor with his foot, and I was like, "Fuck." Hand was fine, but it was like 10 years later, we're sharing the stage together for Metal Fest, and that was really cool, you know.
Wow.
And
that's amazing.
You know, he learned all that stuff on a pretty short notice.
Yeah. And, so did he was talking about that on stage? Did Mike like help him? Mike the third help him?
Oh yeah, Mike the third. Yeah, because had three mics.
Must have worked with him a lot. Like
well, Palmer helped out with a lot of that. Like I mean, his performance on the album is incredible. He, you know, wrote really good lyrics. Like he's got lots of stuff in there. So
yeah, he's a really really creative dude.
Very phenomenal guitar player too. Mm-hmm. But you know, there was a lot of words to learn, and only a couple weeks notice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we knew for a while, but you know, we still have to make decisions.
Yeah.
Book tour and get all this stuff sorted out, but
yeah. And that's a really good time to tour too. Like the CD release tour, you know, like there's so much strategy involved in planning, like when you release your album versus in relation to when you're going to tour. Like, do you tour before or after or both, or release it while you're on tour? Some people do.
Like sometimes it's really nice to like kind of. It's always good to go out and get your feet wet in other countries or in other cities.
As far as you can go.
As far as you can go, right? Yeah. But like, you know, especially if you have an album out, that way, you know, if you have something to sell, be it an EP or an older version of whatever you're doing, you know, they'll be stoked. They'll pick up whatever they can if they dug you. And then we go out with new material, a new album, you know, they're bringing more people in, and that's what's getting people excited. So in our case, you know, like we had the album, you know, finished recording by, you know, end of 2016, but we planned, you know, 9-10 months on how to release it.
Yeah.
So the album had been done for, you know, quite a while.
That's
great. We wanted to make sure that, you know, we had our ducks in line. You know, I was really, really wanting to do like a full 6-page booklet.
Yeah,
which, you know, took a little bit of time to figure out. It was my first time kind of piecing together a CD layout like that before.
Just thinking of like what do you think would be the coolest one that you can come up with, and let's make that.
Well, yeah, basically like I don't know. I always I loved sitting and looking through liner books and like CDs.
Yeah.
And you know, you'd see like, you know, tons of lyrics. You know, sometimes band photos, sometimes clips of the art tucked in the background behind the lyrics and stuff. And I'm like,
little goodies everywhere.
I want to do that. You know, I want to have something tangible. You know, like I mean, as cool as, you know, just doing your album art. Quick bullshit on the back of tracks, who helped produce what and who's in the band. Yeah, it's cool, but I want to give that a little bit more.
So last weekend was Manitoba Metal Fest.
Yeah,
and it was fucking amazing.
Yeah,
I was there. You were there.
Yeah, I played it, ran the stage there. That was fun. Like Manitoba Metal Fest is one of my favorite events that happened.
Oh yeah, easily. Winnipeg. I think those are kind of the three biggest metal events in Winnipeg right now. Is Metal Fest, Manitoba Metal Fest, Chadstock, and Winnipeg United.
Yeah, like as far as like getting the whole community out. Yeah, those three in particular, really draw people out. And just like Manitoba Metal Fest, like Corey Thomas,
Yeah,
and has been
such a
running
hero.
Educat Productions, and I mean I've known Corey for years too, and every year he just steps it up with the bands that come into town. To have Cancer Bats headline the first night and Demolition Hammer hit it up the second night.
Yeah.
It was like two very diverse bills, two very different headliners, and like two very different shows, all within the same fest. And like both nights were killer. Both nights had insane crowds,
crazy moshing like all
tons
night.
of moshing, tons of killer tunes, the stage divers, like
the crowd surfing.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, it was sick.
Yeah, no, you're really like a bunch of years now. You've been just destroying the scene, and just ripping it up. I mean, you got such crazy skills, man. So I mean, it's like you gotta just do it. And you're one of these dudes who just got it in your head that you wanted to be a musician, and that's what you wanted to do full time, and you're doing it pretty. You're right there, man.
Oh, thank you.
That's respectable for sure.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it's I never. People are always very nice. They say stuff like, "Oh, you play great" and stuff. It's like I appreciate that, but I don't see it in my own mind. Like I don't think I play good at all. So I'm always trying to get better and constantly practice and improve. And my thing has always been like, if I'm not the most talented person, I'll be the most hardworking. So I'm always gonna grind and hustle and play whatever shows I can and get my name out there.
Yeah.
And do everything I can to.
Totally. That's great. That's great. It's I see what you mean with the whole like it doesn't feel that way to you because it's kind of like you acclimatize to any state that you're in. Like when you get into water that's really cold or really hot, it's like a shock at first, but then it kind of after a few minutes you get used to it. And it's the same thing with that kind of stuff. I always thought, and that's kind of where the contrast comes from when other people see it and go like, wow, that's so crazy, but then you say like every little intricacy of your own playing, so you see all these things and it's like, oh, I tried to do that and that didn't work, but this thing that I did anyways, you guys liked it, so but it's totally a matter of that. I find that it's just it's once you get used to it, it's just kind of normal and you don't even really have to worry about it. You just focus and work. Yeah.
Well, now I'm at a point as a musician where I can play anything that I hear in my head, and that's always a point I wanted to get to.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm sure there's been times where you've heard something in your head and you gotta figure it out, and it's like now I'm at that point where I can hear it and translate it, and that's where I want to be.
Yeah.
But now I want to come up with crazier ideas and be the best musician that I could possibly be. So I like I said, I really appreciate when people are nice and give those compliments, but I think if I dwelled on them too long, I wouldn't have that same drive to.
Yeah, I completely get that. There's a ton of guys that like they practiced really hard when they were young and then got really good and then was kind of like, oh, now I'm really good and I don't have to practice as much anymore, and then you kind of fall off it a little bit. It happens more often than people may or may not think. It's kind of like pharmaceuticals these days. They say the doctors are trying not to give them to you because then you build up the tolerance for it.
Yeah.
It's kind of similar in that way.
Well, a good thing to always do too is to go check yourself by watching some local musicians too. Like, if any time my ego gets out of check and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm nailing it, I'm doing good, I'll go watch Barry G. play guitar, and then it's like, get back to that practice room, man, because you were.
That's great. Yeah. I love that. There's just every time I meet a new bass player in Winnipeg, I'm just like, wow, I love new musicians and just new everything and in general. Like I jammed with my drummer's dad for the first time, who's also a drummer, recently just last week, and I always love the first jam with somebody that you haven't really jammed with before, because then it's like, it's a whole new total different experience that you haven't really interacted with before, and then that's how you get better at your thing, is by going and seeing those other dudes who can smoke. I remember at the Tosinabasi clinic when they had here at Quest a couple years ago, He's like, yeah, if you're ever just having a problem with the ego, just go on YouTube and watch all those 12-year-old kids that can just out shred you any day. And yeah, it's like, oh, most people don't want to go to see that because it's scary to see that. You know, it's like, oh, you're right, I do have to fucking bust my ass.
Oh, you watch like an 11-year-old kid play a Paul Gilbert song, and it's just like, oh, what like when you think back, what was I doing at 11 years old?
Yeah,
Like,
I don't even want to think about that one.
yeah.
I wish I was playing guitar when I was 11.
So you were mentioning jamming with other players and stuff. Do you ever hit up any jams around the city or anything like that?
You know, I'm a little immobile right now, so it's kind of hard for me to get around right at this juncture. But I've been meaning to, and I looked them up, and I like to meet the guys, and I've gone occasionally, and yeah, I really have been meaning to do that. It's just been busy, and it's hard for me to get around sometimes. And then also is the matter of learning the material. I went to a few last year when I first started wanting to get in on all that, and yeah, I say you go out and you just hang out for the first couple nights, meet the people, learn the songs they're doing, go home and like learn the songs, and then come back and try it. And I kind of just didn't really take it past that first step yet. I still have the intention to at one point.
No, that's awesome, and that was a good way, like especially for me, like going to open jams like at the Royal George or something like that, and it's like that's another big ego check because you go there thinking like, yeah, I'm a really good player, and then you get up with those guys, and then it's like, there's something else going on here. And
yeah,
it's like,
that's a big reason why I haven't done it too, because I'm just like, no, I'm not really there. I kind of specialize right now, or at least what I've spent the most time working on is just like writing my own like weird eclectic shit with no rules, and that's really where my house is where I can like sit down for a day and go through all the details of something that I like, and I like to really like. A lot of people say I like to overanalyze, but I really do enjoy like going right into the details of like why are you doing this and what's the theory behind it and stuff, and it's spent a lot of time. I mean, the downside of doing that is then you spend a lot of time doing that, and like, especially when you get into theory and stuff, and you start with like, oh no, it has to be this way, but no, it's never written like anything. It's something I'm trying to get my mind more out of it now, because I love studying the theory and like and jazz and stuff, because jazz is such a good example for that, because you have to learn the theory like so well, like to the T, but you have to be able to just like mold it as you're going, and be able to just pull things from different categories at any required moment, and it's a little freaky, yeah.
No, that's there's nothing wrong with being over like digging into everything too. Like anybody who kind of says don't do that, I don't know. Like I think it's cool when you can dig in and be like, oh, this is the theory behind that, and this is why this goes well with this. Because then, like you said, you can break out of that, and once you break out of that, then you got the best of both worlds.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I really like that.
It's cool to see how the sound changes when the whole band writes too. Like, for the first Black Hearted album there, I wrote it all, and like, it was, it's a little different to me now listening to it because all those songs mean so much to me, and it's because I wrote them, and it's all about stuff that went on in my life and stuff. And I'm the guy who paid for the recording and got the recording and organized everything, and now it's like everybody's sharing their thing. So the songs don't mean less now, but it's definitely, it's like that thing where the collaborative idea now means even more because it's everybody's experience and everybody's life. Like,
totally.
I guess experience is the word you can use again. It's everybody's idea coming in, and I think that's a really beautiful thing.
Totally. I think that's kind of what makes it relatable too, to that, I mean, the fact that you came up with this thing that like came from inside of you, that like really expresses you like better than you actually can express yourself. Something that raw, and honest, which is just the nature of music. Other people are bound to like to resonate with that and you know, to relate to it and to vibe on it their own way, because they felt that in their life too, and the things that they went through was a meaningful experience for them, you know. So now when that comes up when they're listening to your music, you know, because of a lyric or a certain chord just makes you hit whatever, you know, somebody cut you off in traffic, so you're just like a little extra vulnerable right at that moment or something, you know. And it can just be whatever. I really think music is really good for that. Like, what do they say? It's something like it expresses the world that we live in. You know, it's a reflection of the world.
Yeah, you know, I wish I would have honestly would have been born or like a bit later, so that I grew up with the tech just a little more as a kid, because like that's the future, right? Of fucking that's where things are going. Technology is just only gonna fucking multiply and increase and fucking
and man, and the kids today are like, there's a saying that I heard. Our generation grew up with the internet and the technology, but today's generation, like Generation Z or whatever they're calling it, is growing up in the internet. Right. You know, they're going to be a million times better at memes and trolling and making YouTube videos and podcasts and shit. They're going to be way better at that by the time they're fucking 8 than we've ever been, because they just all they've ever known.
Yeah, and fuck. Unfortunately, that's the future, man. Like, I don't know. Well,
yeah, technology's getting pretty freaky. I watched this new thing. Well, it's actually been on Netflix for a while, but I watched it for the first time. It's funny. How this works. I had seen it on Netflix a whole bunch, and you know how you're just like no when you're going through Netflix.
Yeah.
And so I
everything.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, but this one was new, called The Titan. Didn't want to watch it. It looked lame on Netflix a little bit.
I think I saw that.
Or something that I might watch later. But then I saw it on my Kodi, and it looked way cooler on the Kodi for some reason. They had a different picture, and I was like, well, that looks like something I would watch.
Right.
And then realized it's that one from Netflix, and my Kodi wasn't working, so I had to go back to my Netflix, and I watched it on there, and it was really freaky because they were trying to move humanity to one of the moons of Jupiter, Titan, or moons of Saturn or something, I can't remember. And they were like, for years we've been trying to find the right planet that we can find, but now they were changing the people to suit the planet instead. So they were like, oh yeah, they got like a 90% nitrogen in the atmosphere, which, you know, is extremely hostile, and they got these, like, it rains methane into the 90%. Methane oceans and shit, you know.
Yeah. It's not
whereas our air here is like 70% nitrogen or something, you know.
Is it?
Yeah, and like the air we breathe is only like 20% oxygen or so. At least that's what it said in the movie.
Okay.
I'm going on Lucy physics
movie
here.
Science.
Yeah, movie science. Yeah, no, they catch you.
Yeah.
Got to do some fact checking. But yeah, so they start morphing this dude into an alien.
It was a good.
And just getting like what we were talking about. That's where the future
you think
is going. Like they were. Well, I do think we're gonna merge with technology, kind of. At least I think that's one of the ways we could go. That's a bit more likely.
Yeah.
Like cell phones become the size of blood cells.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Because it's already just an extension.
Being made of like something biodegradable or something like it doesn't. Instead of
something
having metal
alive.
like grafted to your body, like you know what you used to think of a cyborg was. Now it's like, oh, the possibilities are. Yeah, it could get really crazy, man, and it will. I think.
Yeah, totally. Couldn't write that shit, you know.
Yeah.
So many times that reality is like more crazy than the science fiction and the fantasy predictions and everything.
Or you want to talk science fiction, man? Have you read Dune?
Dune.
Yeah.
No, tell me about it.
Oh, fuck.
I love listening to people tell me about books.
Okay. I'm a little too high to get into it.
Please.
It's
complicated?
Yeah, it is, man. It is. It really is. I have to sober up a little bit or have another beer first, but I like sci-fi.
Are you into Game of Thrones?
Yes.
Can I tell you about a new theory that I heard from an awesome YouTuber who does Game of Thrones theory? I think she's called the Grey Woman or something like that. Cool. Yeah. But she had this...
For the theory for the show or the books?
I think it's for both. Probably a lot more applicable to the books. Yeah. Like, it's probably the medium of a book. Seems like it would be a lot easier to pull this off than to, like, visually pull it off into something, like, on screen. Seems like this concept is going to be a lot harder to do.
Oh, it must be something crazy.
It is fucking crazy.
Pretty good on
screen, like, this shit's going to blow your mind. If this is what George R. R. Martin did, like, damn, you scared George R. R. Martin.
Yeah.
But
I don't think, like, are they even talking to George anymore? Like, what's going on? Is there even a dialogue happening? What the fuck?
I think he still writes, like, one episode a season. At least he was up
Yeah.
until like season
Man.
6 or 7. He still had like an episode a
He
season.
should have his
that he would
hand in
write.
all those episodes.
Yeah.
I think.
And he was allowed to like give them the plot points that they have to hit, and the characters that they have to use. And I think that's the big
that's what I
issue
heard
that
too,
it
man.
doesn't translate well for a lot of that stuff because they're
That's
only
what I
given
heard too.
main plot points.
Yes.
That's how it works when
How
you go
you get
from something
there,
to movie.
They don't really.
Exactly.
It's loose.
Yeah,
Because
however
the
you
book
do it,
is
you do it.
supposedly fucking coming out, which we'll see, man.
I heard stuff about that recently.
I
haven't read the
thought
books,
he I thought he got into the show because he was like more pumped about that than the books. That's what I heard when the show first started.
but George R. R. Martin.
Yeah. But then
Well, that's
now
probably when
he's
he
not-
started getting
if
real
he's only
famous.
writing one episode a fucking season, man. That's not. He doesn't have as much
No.
to do with it.
I mean,
so
he's
what's he
rich.
doing?
He doesn't
Where's
have to
the
do
goddamn
fucking
book?
anything.
Where's the book, George? You know?
Yeah.
I want it. already.
I heard something. It was
forgot.
coming out soon.
I'm
I
gonna have
heard
to reread,
Winds of
like,
Winter, I think
everything.
is it. And then there's still supposed to be one more after that, right?
Yes.
There's supposed to be this one and one more. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like, you better, I don't know, maybe.
Or is he sitting on it? I don't know. Creating like demand.
I don't think so.
So okay.
I think he's writing. Okay, but so this
Yeah.
theory, which I think is part of George R. R. Martin's ultimate master plan that's going to blow everybody away.
I don't even know if he's got a plan.
I think
I
this
hope
is
he
it.
does.
If
like
if
George.
he has one, it should be this.
Where'd you
Okay,
go,
so
George?
I'm gonna lay this on you here. The new gods, right? The 7. Not the old gods with the trees, but the new gods, which are the 7.
Yes.
The mother, the maiden, the crone, the strain, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Those are the stars of the current event in the show. Jon Snow's the warrior, fucking Gendry's the blacksmith, Arya's the stranger, and Bran is the something, and Sam is the something.
Yeah.
And at the end of Game of Thrones,
Cersei's
after
like
the
mother
war,
or something like that.
well, Cersei's fucking dead. I hope.
Not yet.
Goddamn,
Not
no.
yet.
Catelyn Stark is the mother.
Oh yeah. I guess so.
And Ned Stark is the. I don't know if the father is one of them. If it is, then that's Ned. But it's the 4 Stark children
Yeah.
and Daenerys, I think, and I can't remember who it was exactly. But that's the
Yeah.
theory.
Oh,
Is that
there's John for sure.
yeah? So at the end of the game, the war for the Dawn, which. That's not what we're in now. What's about to happen in the show is the
wall is
Great
down.
War, and that it's the Great War that's happening, not the War
Yeah,
for the Dawn. The
yeah.
Great War is the War for the Dawn, though. But the War for the Dawn is what they called it 8,000 years ago, the first time they came.
Yeah.
But maybe they didn't, because after they fight them this time, Bran's going to go back in time with Sam's transcription of all the events, and Bran's going to put that in the beginning of Westerosi history, which becomes all of the legends and the lore and the history of Westeros.
Yeah.
But so like the history was written at the end and then placed in the beginning so that it could happen in a way that it would be able to be written in the end and placed back at the beginning for all that to happen.
That's
And George R. R. Martin
crazy.
created this fucking self-perpetually
What?
creating
That's a
fucking
theory?
pocket universe
That's a
of
theory?
Westeros. Yeah,
That's a pretty good theory.
that's fucked up. Isn't
I
that
hope
fuck-
it's
like,
true, man.
Damn George R. R.
But
Martin.
But does that like I didn't because you said it really fast. So
I did,
fucking
so
catch-
I was getting excited
yeah,
about it.
Yeah, but it is. It sounds exciting.
Yeah.
I fucking would just have to think it through and make sure
Yeah, the
that-
details are. I don't
Yeah,
have
yeah.
details, but the
you know,
main
those
thing
theories,
about like,
you can,
oh,
like
it's so cool. I think.
yeah. You didn't get any satisfaction when Cersei blew up that church though, or what?
Oh no, that was great. That
Yeah,
was good. That was.
yeah.
I love.
Somehow,
Game
and
of
I don't
Thrones.
even
Like,
like
it's so
her.
good.
And so,
No, I
and they
want
make
to see
me,
her
like,
get choked the fuck out.
You know,
You know, it's another thing I think might happen.
that's weird because she killed like a bunch of good people. I liked Marjorie
Oh,
and all them.
jeez.
Marjorie was
Yeah, but like how
Just-
powerful
she
of a
didn't hurt
move was that?
anybody.
She killed all her enemies in one fucking move,
yeah,
and
I know.
then her son just
Gotta respect
just
that.
luckily
Gotta respect
jumped out
that,
the window,
eh?
and
Yeah,
all of a sudden she's like, oh, he fucking betrayed me, anyways. So
Yeah.
fuck that kid, I'm the queen.
yeah. Well, the prophecy's coming true. You know?
Yeah. I think the last part of it's going to be trippy, and that has to do with the other thing. I think that one thing they could do is Jaime's going to betray Cersei, and Tyrion's going to betray Daenerys
That's
and
what
go to
they-
Cersei. Because you know how hung up Tyrion is about the actual death of the kids, the children Lannisters. Like, Tyrion really
Yeah.
actually loved them,
Yeah.
and he actually feels really bad about all the deaths of them, but Cersei just thinks he did it. But he actually
Yeah.
loved the kids. And when he found out that she was pregnant in that talk where she's like holding her belly, and
Yeah.
he's just like, "You're pregnant."
Yeah,
I think that might have switched it, and like they made cut out the scene where he's like, "Okay, I'll fucking betray her for our family," or something,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Tyrion might do that, and then Cersei has already fucking driven Jamie away because she's nuts, and Jamie was like, "Well, I thought we were gonna go help them," and she's like, "No, we're not gonna go help them. What the fuck's wrong with
Well,
you?"
man, yeah, he's finally starting to fucking. He's gonna have to make some choices too, man. There's a lot of decision making that needs to go on for these people now. Like,
Well, he already left.